On first impressions, the manufacturer Togo from Japan immediately brings to mind the depths of coaster depravity. The company, now a microcosm of itself that once was one of the world's leading roller coaster manufacturers, rendered today a small service company for its once plentiful offering of amusement products. Their rides and tragic safety history saw to the quick obliteration of most of Togo's coasters. However, a few legendary ones, mainly in Japan, remain operating today, which brings us to Bandit. Even though this nearly 40-year-old coaster is a Togo, Bandit, when it debuted at Yomiuriland on the outskirts of Tokyo in 1998, boldly delivers the most thrilling of hypercoaster layouts a year before the original of those designs, Magnum XL 200, debuted. Bandit achieved this without even technically being a hypercoaster. Since it's built over a valley, the layout takes advantage of the terrain superbly, with abundant speed benefited by the 256-foot elevation difference along the course. Reaching a top speed of 68 miles per hour, which on its debut was a world record, Bandit still delivers a world-class level thrill today. There's also something endearing about this, probably the most tacky of thrill coasters out there, with its color scheme, fire cannons that trigger on each dispatch during the winter period, or the enthusiastic morning exercise motions of the station crew, where every rider can't help but charge along with the chant of "Go, Go, Bandit." I don't know, I loved it. As far as the actual coaster goes, the abundant array of elements along the 5,118-foot course hold up well today, with a great first drop of nearly 160 feet, followed by a high-speed bank turn over the cable car lines that threateningly run straight through the layout, and then the ensuing certifiable grayout moment during the ground-up 540-degree helix. The layout's first half takes advantage of the train's speed unforgivingly. At this point, Bandit takes speed almost too seriously, as you navigate over a slight overbank turn to the right, followed by a low-profile airtime moment before another glorious bank turn to the right. These arguably have to be the most underappreciated sweeping turns on a coaster produced at a time when dominant manufacturer Aerodynamics were still churning out spec-driven layouts. And despite its high speeds, the ride is not all that rough and surprising for the infamous Togo. What follows is the main drop into the valley, which is a highlight as the train attains maximum speed at the bottom, followed by an ascent into a screeching right, as you are thrust into the side of the train as it whips around an unbanked right-handed turnaround. The return to the brake run features another ejector airtime hill before the train coasts left on a slight overbank airtime moment before reaching the station. Once at coasting speed, there's a bit of a what has just happened moment that you feel after the first ride. It still amazes that Togo were able to come up with such a resiliently thrilling ride at such an early stage. Taking away from the experience is an old-style collar restraint system, yet it provides a fair amount of roominess, and since there are no inversions along Bandit's layout, there are no headbanging moments other than the helix. But even this is nowhere as extreme as what Togo's stand-up model subjected a rider to. Given its age, the coaster is prone to breakdowns, as was experienced on my visit, but thankfully the team at Yomiuriland were quick to get the ride operating as soon as possible. Bandit on the wrong day can also not be the best ride to look at, and the confusing mythical theming in the station, paired with a log flume-appropriate train, leaves one to imagine the ride is worthy of something better. But again, this lack of style serves to the ride's benefit in an inexplicable way. It has been 5 years since my 2019 rides on Bandit, but it did ride trimless the 3 times I managed to get on it. Now this was on a sub-zero day in January. If you are a bit of a nuthead and like to feel the mechanics of a ride you're on, then a coaster like Bandit delivers more than most, as it's smooth enough to allow its quirks to be enjoyable rather than day-ending. If this ride was located in North America or Europe, I feel it would be far more revered than it is. Recognizing the Yomiuriland faithful that queued for hours to ride it on my winter visit, I feel they are more than happy keeping their treasured coaster a rare guilty pleasure.